Welcome everybody who is watching. Maybe there's not so many of you because right now it's the middle of what day it is today. Actually, Wojciech, you have to help me here. I think it's Thursday. Yeah, I think it's Thursday. This is the might be. I'm not really sure because when you are in this rhythm, when you go non-stop Monday to Sunday, you're traveling on weekends, chess leagues, and blah blah blah. So I suppose we're going to talk about a bit later how it is to be not only just professional but content creator. Anyway, welcome everybody. I'm Latvian Grandmaster to Neiksans. Also, my crime partner here is Wojciech Moranda, and we are back with episode number 3 of the Casual GM podcast. Welcome, Wojciech. Right. Here, by the way, in the chat, Santos would says today it's Wednesday. I'm pretty sure today's Thursday, by the way. Pretty sure, but I'm maybe it's not really okay. It doesn't really matter. So let's assume today it's Thursday. What we could talk about today. I think that we could go with the rhythm voice like we had before. So we try to provide our 2 cents from the casual GM perspective on what is happening in the chess world. Also talk about some maybe none other topical issue like again this life of a content creator where as this is becoming quite a popular choice by many chess professionals who realize it's tough to lead life just playing chess professionally and the things you could do. And also, if you're going to get a chance, maybe some other topics. And of course, we have to try to solve a puzzle from your latest Chessable course. But I suppose let's maybe start with the hot news. And everybody is talking about it. I mean, in the last couple of days, so it's like there was the crazy not world championship match. Essentially, it was like world championship match in Moscow. So Hans Nieman traveled to Moscow, Russia, and he was challenging Daniil Dubov for a blitz match. Actually, the reason why he went to Russia was that he was about to play in Aeroflot Open. By the way, he played pretty well. He finished something like 6.5 out of 9. He shared third, fourth place. I don't really remember, but he played really well, finished in the plus. And after that, he was making waves by challenging some of the leading Russian players like Yan Nepomniachtchi. He challenged him, I'm going to give you $100,000 and you have nothing to lose. Basically, Hans is donating the money just to play a match against Yan Nepomniachtchi. And also he challenged Daniil Dubov, who accepted the match. Although the terms of the match were pretty vague. I think it was something like $2,000 per every single victory for each player. And did you watch the match, Wojciech?
Detector test, right? As far as I can tell. Or should I not say that openly?
No, I mean somebody told me the mic was muted. So whatever you said before, none of this was registered.
Which is crazy because my mic is fine. Okay, just give me a
No, it's in the broadcast. Yeah, this is a blooper. So anyway, whatever Wojciech you said before, nobody heard it except me. I heard it, and I assumed everybody heard it. So you're gonna have to forgive me.
Is it better now? Can you guys
Yeah,
hear me?
this is good. It was my problem. It was on
Ah,
my
okay.
side. I
No
just
worries.
muted them. I just muted the mic, and
Long
nobody
story
said it.
long story short, everyone is interested in the effect of this victory for Dubov and not really in the match itself. Although the games were pretty interesting, I think there was like one very nice positional victory for Black out of the opening when this game that made it to the headlines. The knight on e4 of White got pinned. White ended up with a bad bishop on c1 and. Well, this is something that I saw quite briefly, and yeah, that's kind of for me from the aesthetic point of view, it was quite an interesting position. However, was the result of the match essentially Hans needs to undergo test with the lie detector, like a polygraph, and he's gonna have to answer a single question asked by Daniel Dubov, which in the meantime has probably been disclosed. And the question is whether Hans had ever cheated in an over the board game before, and the emphasis is put obviously on the over the board kind of part, as far as I know, because Hans himself admitted to cheating online twice, as some sort of within the context of this scandal from St. Louis from a couple of years ago, as far as I remember, right? You correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was like that. Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember the details out here. No, so cheating online and cheating over the board, as we discussed last time, those are two completely different phenomena. Namely, people are willing to cut some slack on persons who cheat online. For me, it's the same thing. It's the same
Exactly.
thing. It's still cheating. However, I'm pretty sure that the whole chess world would be interested in hearing the results of this test, but also something that I can say from my experience as a person who's like admitted to the bar here in person, namely here in Poland, namely, lie detectors are not like widely acknowledged sources of proof,
Yeah,
right? Pieces of
speaking about those lie detectors, because I understand it's a very popular thing exactly in Russia. So they take it very seriously. Like they have, I don't know, some sophisticated methods that the lie detector is going to provide the very accurate results. But to be honest, I do believe that it's very vague, right? And you can be even nervous when you're answering the question correctly. So imagine this, like, so let's say I'm Hans Nieman, right? And everybody, not everybody, a lot of people are accusing, right? And you're afraid of the question, right? And imagine this, there comes the lie detector and it asks you the question. So I think it's very difficult to answer the question very calmly, right? And definitely the detector is gonna pick up. There's some not uncertainty, but some stress, deep stress about the questions. So I'm not really sure what's gonna prove, but whatever, it's gonna be a circus, I think.
The whole situation is already stressful for the tested person, as such, right? So you start getting all sorts of thoughts like, oh, what happens if, right? You may be completely innocent, but you're just, like excited, you're anxious about what's happening. So this is also why lots of, like I do not know any country, I mean, any legal system of any country where like the polygraph would represent like a basic and reliable would be considered to be a reliable method of obtaining a proof, for I don't know, like criminal, like or civil purposes, right? People kind of I don't know, like it's because of Hollywood movies, I guess, right? That people assume that the polygraph is gonna be like a super credible kind of a method of learning the truth about any kind of a given situation, whereas it's definitely not the case as you've mentioned. But okay, like to us, members of the general chess populace, it's like, like something is happening, right? Let's see
Yeah,
what's gonna be the
everybody's
answer, what the
talking about
machine
it.
says. Yeah.
Hans goes to Moscow. Everybody goes crazy. Even some fans wrote, I was a big supporter of Hans. Now I will never support Hans for going to evil Russia, etc." So
No,
it
no,
was
no, no,
quite
no,
quite the
no.
news.
No, I mean, nobody denies that Hans is like a very interesting, entertaining persona, right? A person, around whom like chess life and the internet nowadays, very much revolves around, right? So, from that point of view, I can understand his phenomenon and his the videos that he posts online. They may be considered controversial, but they're also fun to watch, and obviously not for the people who are spoken about negatively in those videos. Naturally not, but for like an average Joe like myself, I see a new video of Hans, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna click it, I'm gonna watch it for sure, right? However, I also get the impression that people sort of wanted Dubov to win because like the question that Dubov wants to ask Niemann is like more critical for the history of chess.
So he won for the people, yeah, so that the people get to hear the answer, even though the answer might not mean anything.
Exactly. But it's just about, it's like a little bit like politics, like politicians talking different kind of stuff every day, but not much of that really materializes. But people are like excited, let's say Trump mentioning some tariffs and then revoking them, and people are like, oh my god, what is happening? While at the end of the day, nothing really happened, in the first place, right? So it's just for the people to be absorbed by something excited, because as far as I can tell, Hans wanted to ask you both about that incident at the New York World Championships, right? Like whether he really overslept
Ah,
as he claimed. I mean,
but
that's my suspicion.
on
Yeah.
a serious note, we already know the answer, right? We know the
Uh,
answer. We know what
uh,
happened. No,
yes
you
and no.
disagree? No,
Yes.
come on. Really?
Okay. No. No. I mean, like Dubov says that he overslept. Niemann claims that this must have been some sort of I think he claims that this must have been some sort of like an attitude thing, because what some people may or might not know is that Daniel is like associated with Magnus. He's been his like friend and second for many years now, right? So and Magnus is not exactly like friends with Niemann, right? So I can imagine that, like theoretically speaking, this could have been some sort of a form of protest from Dubov regarding Niemann's behavior. But on the other hand, we've got Dubov himself saying that, well, he kind of overslept. But I don't know about you, but I could have, I could have sworn that I saw some kind of a wink, wink kind of a thing from his side, coming from his side when he was talking about it. So
Well,
like as people like coming from the same kind of part of the world, I have a hunch. You have the same hunch, I guess, right? And we kind of know what Dubov might have had in mind. But okay, like if he denies this, we're gonna need to wait for the polygraph, which polygraph, by the way, means nothing at the end of the day
yeah,
either, right?
I'm also very curious to get the results of the polygraph, but as I understand, it still hasn't happened, which is pretty strange. I mean, since Duba proposed to organize the polygraph, it would have to be conducted probably in Russia, right, with their experts. And so is Hans now going to leave Russia and then coming back to Russia again to make the polygraph? So I don't really know. It made a bit more sense to organize it right after the match was finished, but whatever. I suppose it's still coming. I'm not really sure in what form it's going to look like. It would be actually pretty funny to see this as part of chess.com organized polygraph series. So they like to put together some either friends or mostly actually it's friends. Yeah? So mostly friends are asking these kind questions to each other, etc. Like there was a question to Darren Ranch, how many times do you change the underwear in how many days? Whatever. Even stuff like that appeared there. I suppose we're going to see, but I would love to see more than one question. Why only one question? I think this was also what Gotham just said. Yeah, why only one question? Why not like 10 questions or so? But speaking about the polygraphs, I have never given a polygraph myself, and I think that I would be pretty nervous to answer some questions that I know what I wanted to say, but I'm quite afraid to answer it. What about you? Have you ever given it?
No, never. And like the mere thought of being tested by a polygraph freaks me out, to be honest, right? Because I start thinking about all the questions that I can be asked, and all the questions that all the possible scenarios that would be going through my head in a situation like this. You could say that, well, if you have nothing to hide, then I have nothing to hide, right? But if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, which is not exactly the case,
No,
as we've
it's not.
mentioned
That's not.
already in
No,
the
I don't. I
beginning, right?
disagree. I don't think so. There are some questions that you are still afraid because you're afraid of your reaction. You're afraid of the question. That's why, for example, I said about Hans' perspective. If they're going to ask him about the cheating, he is afraid about the question. I mean, he is maybe very sure of himself, but the way he's going to answer it, it might be answered with a lot of uncertainty. Yeah, so it's not so easy.
Yeah, so let's assume, he had never cheated, right? And then he gets asked about the question, and, like his mind starts thinking about all the stress that he endured throughout the years, of people accusing him of cheating, right? And this is gonna kind of immediately freak the person out. right? So you see, this is at the very least why the polygraph is not a credible method of obtaining proof. But no, it's gonna be fun. I also imagined that this is gonna look like this. This is gonna be broadcast live, and like before the very last game of the match, there are gonna be those experts already sitting nearby with their cable sticks and whatever else needles. I don't know how it works, right? And they're gonna be like immediately attaching the person, giving them like 5 minutes, and afterwards attaching the given person to the machine. There goes the question. You're free to go. Come back to
Maybe
America.
that's the future. Actually, we talked about it, I believe, in the previous episode about cheating in chess. Maybe they're gonna make it like an official measure. After the
Mm,
tournament.
one possible explanation for why did they not get tested immediately after the game is that the match itself is like already a stressful experience, right? Because you're excited, you're calculating lines, you are like losing, winning, losing, winning interchangeably if it's a tense match. So like those results of the polygraph may be like blurred by this to a certain degree,
Right.
right? So maybe this was the reason, but like then I could imagine, I don't know, like Hans having have to wait a couple of days after that, in Moscow. I'm not so sure whether this is exactly what he did. We can only speculate about this. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that this should have never really happened in the first place, right? That like this whole scandal was like really unnecessary. Okay, well maybe we do not know everything, right? Maybe like as an average, like as an average kind of chess player, where like we only hear the things that got mentioned, explicitly in the media, right? Apart from that, okay, and this is also why some people find it like particularly kind of funny, like the anal butts beat story, right? So so like the story made it to the headlines, also from like those mainstream media, and I do not really think that this was beneficial for chess as a whole, because all of a sudden, like a typical layperson, if they hear chess, they're immediately think something that you stuck up the you know
Yeah. Sure.
where
That's
to,
that's
right?
that's
So
quite already the
I don't
popular
think that
culture.
such an association is particularly favorable for our sport. Definitely not.
Right. But I mean, okay, we talk about the polygraph test, and and of course, we still have to see when it's going to be conducted, how it's going to turn out. I imagine that if there's going to be a live broadcast, it's going to last for like exactly 5 minutes because it's one question and that's it, and we're out of here. But I wanted also to talk about the match itself. I thought actually it was very thrilling, but my impression, I mostly was watching the game one matches. So they played in total 18 matches, 9 in the first day, 9 in the second day, and then in the end, Niemann managed to catch up. But at least the impression I had in the first day that Dubov was dominating. That's how I felt it. So it looked like it. Okay, he was a bit lucky at some moments, but it looked like he was clearly catching Hans in the openings. That's what I feeling I had. So of course, I mean, Dubov is one of the most creative authors, not authors, but author of the ideas. He very often has many original ideas, and what a lot of times I saw like in the opening phase, he had like still 3 minutes on the clock, and Hans had like 1.5, so which was quite unusual.
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned before, even despite the fact that I'm a GM, so I should be mostly interested in the chess part of the match. I really focused on the part, like where the whole event comes to an end, and we're gonna finally learn, what's the truth, or maybe not exactly, because of the nature of a polygraph. On the other hand, I think that this is like this could have been anticipated, this course of the match, because well, Dubov became Magnus's second a while ago, not because of like pure sympathy, among others maybe, but rather because he's like an opening expert among others. He's like very creative, as you said, and like always entertaining to watch. He has this very unique kind of approach to even well-established strategic ideas. You can tell it from his games. When it goes for like specific opening contributions, we cannot help but mention the so-called Dubov Tarash, and I think that like those naming conventions are sometimes tricky, but in this specific case, he deserves it completely since he kind of was the one who played it back in the days when the engine was very distrustful, of the whole system. The engine would say that it's a zero point 0.8 type of an advantage for for white across the board, and zero point 0.8 is far above like the margin of safety that an average grandmaster is gonna be applying during his own opening preparation, right? And he kept on playing like this. I think it was only Stockfish 16 and Stockfish 17 afterwards, which started appreciating the idea as a whole. So he gets all the credit for that, and this was definitely not his only invention that shaped the world
Right.
of chess theory, right? So definitely, I think that this is also why the match looked like this. But we cannot possibly forget that both of the players, while going into the match, they were carrying some sort of a chip on their shoulder regarding the other person. So this is also probably why Dubov must have at least revealed a couple of his, opening specialties, right? Just because he wanted to make sure that he's gonna win, so that he can prove his point, so that he can ask the question. It's like more than a match. It was definitely more about money for sure. It was about who is right, who is wrong, even if the polygraph again at the end of the day doesn't explicitly state this, doesn't represent like enough proof
Right.
to say
So
this for
either
sure.
way, we can definitely Wojciech agree that Hans is a very entertaining person, a controversial person in chess. So you may like him, you may hate him, but he definitely makes news. He makes interesting, and yeah, like I already said, he just traveled to Russia, and this raised eyebrows for the many players. He often comes with uh, controversial statements. By the way, but lately he also made an announcement that he's extending the challenge to 2700 level players, 2750 players. He's providing the prize fund, etc. So he is trying to find his way under the sun, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, this is quite a normal phenomenon that over the course of years, some players who are like very strong would not be receiving enough invitations, and this might be for a couple of reasons. So I think that there was this story with Arjun Rigaisi, who just made it above 2700 by participating in all of those open tournaments, since he was barely getting any invitations to round robin tournaments. And
Yeah, even right now, Arjun Rigaisi is not invited to Grand Chess Tour. I mean, this was quite a major surprise to me. Okay, obviously it's a private event; you can invite anything, and that's why. By the way, I think this is also what Gotham just mentioned in his video: is that these super tournaments are essentially private events, right? And organized, they invite the players based on who they like the most, and they have no obligations to invite the players according to the rating. Everybody loves Magnus. Everybody loves Hikaru. Okay, maybe not everybody, but they invite who they like the most.
yeah, exactly. But there are also different. There's also a different breed of situations. Namely, a while ago we had Toilet Gate. It was like close to 20 years ago, and afterwards, both of the gentlemen, that is Kramnik and Topalov, well, let's put it very mildly, they couldn't stand each other. So obviously, they would not like they would prefer not to participate in this same tournament. And effectively, this led to a situation in which Kramnik was getting like a lot of invitations, while at the same time, the organizers of the very same tournament would be trying to, make sure that there are no sort of situations like these that Topalov is also going to be participating. And this led to a certain degree, from my point of view, to a situation in which Topalov was just playing some other tournaments than Kramnik, not necessarily the best round robins that were out there back in the days, right? And then eventually, Topalov almost completely stopped playing. He played a couple of events like in Salamanca in Spain, right? Some of those mixed GM round robin tournaments with women also kind of being invited, right? But somehow, it kind of like his career faded eventually, right? So that's another kind of a case. But now imagine you're like a tournament organizer, and lo and behold, Carlsen agrees kindly to participate in your tournament, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, automatically clear to you that there are some other people which you cannot afford to invite because you would be risking that, like Magnus is going to refuse to participate. If you have, let's state this open, let's say Hans invited as well, right? So that's a perfectly normal phenomenon, not desirable, but perfectly normal. And I can only wholeheartedly endorse this initiative of Hans, that he kind of takes his fate into his own hands. He says, "Okay, guys, I want to play some very good against some very good opponents." So he played against Giri, he played against Pro, as far as I remember, also against Vitugov in London, and he scored very well back then, right? He had proven that he's like a very strong player, certainly knocking on the door of 2750. And like that's, if he has the funds, if he has the means to organize something like this, good for him, good for him. Then again, I can also understand his frustration to a certain degree, right? That, well, he would like to participate in GM around urban tournaments, but he doesn't get, at least in his own opinion, too many invitations. So yeah, I mean, I can understand him. On the other hand, it's also clear to me, like, why might this be the case at the end of the day? There's like the action reaction kind of phenomenon in whatever
That's
you're
the
doing.
fallout. That's the fallout essentially of the actions he has taken before. And I also support the initiative. I think the chess world only gains from it. I think the matches he played against these aforementioned players that were really good ones, it was exciting to follow. But to be honest, I'm not even sure that's going to make a big difference. Like, so he, I mean, in terms of, is it going to change something for him to get invited to those super tournaments? He would have to be 2,800, maybe top 3 in the world, and then essentially the organizers basically cannot afford to ignore. And maybe they're going to instead, in this situation, let's say Hans is higher than Magnus, they decide to invite Hans instead. That's a
Well,
very long way to go.
I think that his approach is just to become like too good to be ignored. And again, this is an approach to life that we can only kind of say bravo to, right? Like if you're really good, eventually organizers are gonna have no other choice but to invite you, right? And again, if he's got the means to organize his own events, like matchups against strong players, yeah, good for him, good for the chess scene. If he makes it, to 2770, 80, for example, then, organizers probably are going to start thinking, okay, so he is entertaining as a person. He's very strong. Okay, there were some stories back in the days with Magnus, but let's maybe give it a try. Let's see what happens. So being controversial, I mean, he probably doesn't look at this way, right? But like an average chess Joe is probably gonna think, okay, well, some of the actions of his are kind of designed to stir up things in the chess world, right? So being controversial is also useful to a certain degree because you are creating a brand of your own, right? I mean, obviously, me personally, I'm a completely different type of a personality. So like I like when it's quiet. I like, to focus on my own training, etc. But some people get a lot of additional momentum, like this kind of energy boost from like things when things are happening around them, right? So let's think about some sports people. You get like the Olympics, like pole vault, high jump, this kind of thing. There are so many people who start like clapping. They want, like the whole crowd to kind of root for them, and they get apparently they get some additional energy from that. So yeah, overall, I'm curious how it's gonna work out for him. As far as I can tell, Niepo refused, or he just wasn't
Or he
interested
just
in.
didn't answer really.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
implicitly he refused. So he
Yeah,
just
probably
he's
he
not interested.
refused. So I'm also wishing him best of luck, and he's maybe this is his redemption arc, really, because I think also his tone lately has changed a bit. But it's we're gonna see, I suppose. Um, let's move on a bit and talk about something else. And I suppose this also partly affects Hans because he is at least partly a content creator. I mean, every single action that he does. It's content, right? And immediately it's discussed over on Chess Reddit. He has a YouTube channel, and let's talk about the life of a content creator, because I have a feeling, not like a feeling, it's basically an observation that that's the direction more and more chess professionals are taking. So if you look back, maybe what was it, like 10 years ago, we had our very early chess content creators. So for example, the first one jumps to my mind, what was his name? Simon Williams. So he was already producing a lot of content years ago, and at a time it was like a bit strange. I mean, not really, not strange, but it was a bit unusual because most chess professionals wouldn't be doing this. Then during the COVID times, more and more streamers start to appear, not necessarily grandmasters. And now lately, I'm also noticing this trend that more and more professionals are thinking about creating content. So we discussed, I believe, either the first or the second episode. I believe that was the first episode about Felix Bloberger's hot take that being a chess professional, it sucks. It's not really great. And then we kind of talked about this, but we didn't really spin anything about being the content creator. So let's talk about this. Is there a future for content creation in chess, and what's your take?
Most certainly. I mean, always it pays off to be like the very first who does something, like discovering your own niche, right? And tearing right into it, making sure that this is also something that like the other folks out there are mostly interested in. I would be treating content creation. I mean, I'm not a content creator. I'm mostly like a chess teacher. I'm gonna call myself like this, and simultaneously I'm a player. And I'm also a writer. So I do create content, but not this kind of digital content that is available, like every second day or something, publishing a video on the YouTube or on Twitch, etc. Right? So I think that I also leave a mark in terms of that's a legacy thing for me to publish books and courses once in a couple of years, right? Just for the knowledge that I have in my own chess mind not to kind of die with me one day, right? So just to share it with, to make the chess world a slightly better place with what I do. But coming back to like creating digital chess content, yeah, more and more people are getting into this type of a business. Obviously, like players like, as you mentioned, Simon Williams, also Levy Rosman in the golf and chess were like the pioneers, the ones who paved the way, who also showed the way to others, how to do it. Then again, grandmasters, I can imagine that they would be doing that on one hand for like monetary purposes, because you need as a professional nowadays, you need like various income streams, right? That's for sure, but also as means of popularizing one's person, like becoming more present online because you want to become recognizable within like other things that you do, and just exactly playing or maybe publishing, right? So I know some people who publish books and courses, and they also like every day they publish something on Twitter, on Instagram, for example, just because they want to be recognizable. And like this is how the world works nowadays. That if you're recognizable, you do not need to be necessarily like super strong in order for people to flock towards you, right? So you
As there
can
was
be
the
like
saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So even if you make a bad publicity, the more people know you, then it's better for you.
Yeah, so in my home country, we put it differently. And it's gonna be a little bit vulgar, but I'm gonna take the risk. So, essentially, the proverb goes like this: if like if you advertise something sufficiently enough, you can even sell turd if it's packed in silver, in silver paper, right?
Yeah,
So
I think I've
sometimes
heard something
people
like that.
just, like publish, publish, publish. The quality is not really that great. It's just about, like people talking about them and not really like the thing being like of very high quality. Right? No, but I can imagine some grandmasters producing actually very nice stuff. right? Like some puzzles online, sharing their experiences, which are gonna be very helpful and very valuable. It's just that personally, I cannot imagine like a grandmaster who worked his whole life to become as strong as they are right now, just throwing like away playing, throwing away coaching, throwing away writing books or courses in favor exclusively of content creation, right? So the guys who are most successful at content creation, they simultaneously publish books, they have their own merchandise, right? They participate in events, right? And this is like how you achieve like a diversified source of income, I guess, right?
I can maybe tell from my perspective because the names that you mentioned, like Levy, of course, and Simon Williams. Actually, I think Simon Williams was making content way before Levy. Like I remember him making a chess base videos. He was running his own Ginger GM website. He was publishing his killer courses, whatever. So that was a long time ago. Yeah. So I think he's like one of the pioneers. Maybe somebody else like David Daniel King. Daniel King also was making content a long time before. I can definitely tell from my perspective that I've been in this business for how long is it? 5 years, I think. So I started to stream myself back in 2020 for the reasons that many people did it. So back then we didn't really have so many grandmasters streaming. Nowadays, I think more and more are doing it. But after these years, I'm definitely grateful of the opportunities that the content creation has provided me. But I also have some strict opinions about certain platforms. Like I was thinking about making a video about Twitch, essentially, and this is a opinion I haven't really hidden before. For streaming, I believe that Twitch is dead. That's my honest opinion right now, and I already talk with my community who are following me on Twitch that most likely I will be migrating to YouTube because that was essentially the choice that I did 5 years ago when I started to stream on Twitch. I had a choice to stream on Twitch or on YouTube, and Twitch at the time it was really cool. It was a new thing, right? And everybody was streaming on Twitch, and just some odd people were going to YouTube. But the thing is, what I came to realize is that Twitch essentially is not growing. Like you stream, you make those videos, you finish the streaming, your audience is not growing when you don't stream. So you're only growing whenever you are live. And that's the difference with YouTube. Like you make videos, you publish those videos, and people still are coming back. And at least in the past half a year, my priorities have definitely switched from Twitch to YouTube. I still like to stream, I like to engage with the audience, but probably I'm simply gonna switch to YouTube and I'm gonna do this stuff. And the things that you mentioned also, publishing courses, making merchandise. I really like how this was the guidelines that chess.com gave us, the streamers back then, because there is actually, I still don't know, is there still a streamer program on chess.com? I'm not really sure. Maybe there is, maybe it's discontinued, I don't know. So I was part of it, and they gave us some very nice guidelines, is that essentially you are streaming not to make an income, you're making the streaming as a platform where you can essentially sell your services.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can sell your courses, you can sell your coaching, you can sell your merchandise, and streaming or YouTube is the platform where you're
I mean,
making yourself visible.
if you want to, as far as I know, if you want to like earn the money from YouTube, publishing videos, etc., well, you're gonna need views going in millions because basically you earn some money from like advertisements, and also like there is some sort of a threshold like of 1 million views per video, after which you get money like directly from YouTube, right? So I do not know too many chess streamers who are capable of achieving those thresholds, right? So typically you've got streamers who are like quite famous in the chess world and they get like a couple of thousand views per video. And the question is whether those views accumulate, whether you can like record 100 videos times 1,000 views each, and whether it also counts, altogether for that, million view threshold. That's something that I'm really interested in, just out of curiosity, right? But no, I mean this is also my impression as a lay person, in the sense that it's always like this, that services which are integrated into a bigger thing, they eventually eat up the services, the platforms that are like smaller, like focused on specifically one thing. So if you think about YouTube nowadays, you've got live streams, you've got like just videos, you can commentate sort of live on the go, you can commentate, afterwards after the video is published, right? You've got like literally everything that you can do on YouTube, and also YouTube is like within it's like a part of the Google family as far as I can tell, the family of applications, right? So no wonder that Twitch is like being kind of slowly pushed, to the edge of the internet. Again, I mean, when I like wake up in the morning, I start my chess training, and I want some, like music in the background. Obviously, I go to YouTube, right? If I want to check out what's been happening in the chess world, it's like YouTube or chess.com, I guess, right? So no wonder, no surprise really there for me that you're contemplating moving on to YouTube entirely, since within this platform you can do just about everything that you want to achieve as a content creator.
Yeah, I'm having a bit conflicted feelings because at least I love my community here on Twitch, and I'm not really sure that all of them they are gonna switch over to YouTube. I even made a poll on YouTube some time ago, and like 40%, I believe, they said they didn't even know I'm streaming on Twitch. Yeah. And some followers really like to follow Twitch. I suppose it's we'll see, but one thing I would like to mention where there's a definite growth in the content creation, and that is the shorts, by the way. And lately, I've noticed so many shorts. I mean, they're being done on Instagram mainly, also on TikTok, and this is a platform that many streamers like to use. By the way, I'm not sure you're following really this, but I recently saw an explosion of Dina Belenkaya's channels. And by the way, comparison of Dina's numbers here on Twitch, right? She has about, what was it? I think it was 80,000, 90,000 followers, which is decent, but it's nothing special. On Instagram, she has 500,000, right? And also, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think she's posting the same videos on Instagram and YouTube, and this is a really nice way to grow. And by the way, this is where I'm also struggling to work myself a lot, because essentially you need to find somebody who creates these videos. You need to invest a lot of time. And I talked with Dina about this. I asked how did she do this, and she said to me that she was working on this essentially non-stop for 2 years. Like 2 years, she had to find a guy, teach the guy, and work on this stuff, so that now, I mean, you can head over to Dina's YouTube and Instagram channels. It's amazing numbers. Yeah, so I think it definitely pays off, and I think there's more and more content creators who are focusing exactly on these shorts, because for some reason the algorithm, it really likes these shorts. And if you got a huge number of followers either on Instagram or YouTube, you can move these people to the other parts where you're creating content.
Yeah, I mean, one tendency which I have noticed, in chess content creation is that, with all due respect for you, I mean, I think that you do not have like a huge chance in terms of popularity compared to Dina, because you're like a grandmaster, so you're awfully smart, obviously. But
I'm
Dina
not
is
as good
also a
looking, I know.
but Dina is also smart, right? Also a grandmaster and good looking on top of that, right? So there are going to be lots and lots of people. By the way, chess is like an area of life dominated by guys, right? So obviously, if they think about listening to our casual GM podcast or maybe watching a couple of quick shorts from Dina, well, we do not stand the chance, I'm right? We can
Maybe
provide
you're
some
right.
variations, but Dina can do the same, obviously, right? And we're on the losing end. I'm afraid out here. We're just hopeless. No, seriously. Obviously, what people do not always immediately get is that creating content is not so easy, right? So even if you watch some so-called ASMR videos on YouTube, like knife restoration kind of videos, like a guy takes like a really rusty kind of dagger and he starts fixing it to bring it back into shape, right? So the video is like 10 minutes long, it shows the whole process, etc. And all of a sudden you look at the number of views, it's 15 million. People are like interested in that, right? And you think about it, oh yeah, it's been 15 minutes so far of watching, which means that he must have spent like 15 minutes doing exactly that, like the whole process.
More.
No, it's not true. It's gonna be like hours, probably like
Yeah.
tens of hours, like waiting for those substances to start working, like editing the video, like doing sound editing, like different types of stuff. So I cannot imagine anybody going seriously into content creation, first of all, without knowing what this is all about, having some kind of conceptual background, understanding the business, and also secondly, and probably most importantly, having somebody help you out, like more than one person also at the same time, like a video expert, like a sound expert, like an editing expert, somebody who's done it before. So no surprise there when Dina says, well, she literally had to teach the guy,
I
everything
can
that
tell
she
you,
knows.
I can tell you how essentially a video looks like to prep on YouTube. I'm a noob, gotta tell you, to be honest, right? Because I've been doing this for years, and every single time I'm learning something new, I learn that some of the things I have done completely wrong. So I've always been doing it the other way. Like I make a video and then I decide how the title is gonna be, and then I make a description. But actually, the right way to make the video is you first think of the topic you want to discuss, you think about how it's gonna look like, and then maybe rehearse the thing a couple of times until you get it right. So you make a video, but it's still not enough. Yeah, so you need to post it at the right moment on YouTube. You need to upload it at the right moment. There's a couple of tricks you need to follow. You need to have a catchy thumbnail. For this, you need to pay a graphical designer, somebody who is going to design it, and people gonna click on it. And then you need to follow a lot of things like what's gonna be the video title. You need to have something that forces people to click on it, right? So it's not like that's why. By the way, what do you think? Gotham Chess makes those cheesy titles that with many exclams, and then he changes the video title basically after 1 hour it's published because people think it's a brand new video and they click on it again, and it just increases the exposure of YouTube. By the way, this is something that Levy has said many times, and also the keywords, the tags, the text. And I was watching the other day, there was some guy who was making, there was many videos about it on YouTube, how to properly make a YouTube video. It's a total science, to be honest. And the guy even went as far that he wrote like a short summary what he wants to write in the description, and he was using the AI to improve on the text. So people are even using the AI to improve on text. So he throws in the keywords, and the AI is writing the summary of this video, and then he puts it in the video description. So I was looking like this. Oh my goodness, I have a long way to go.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I fell for this cheapo, that trick with the change title, more than once. So naughty, naughty. But yeah, it increases the number of views, I guess. It also gives the video a boost, right? So there are those little tips and tricks that content creators share among one another. Tags, obviously. Also, sometimes like the video can contain a lot of valuable information, but if the thumbnail doesn't like appeal to you, I'm not clicking. I'm not gonna look at it. Or the video is too long. Nah, I don't have the time for that, right? So, as you said, it's like a whole science. It's like a business, and maybe we're gonna reach some kind of times when they're gonna be teaching that at MBAs. They're gonna be like whole kind of university classes where you just are
Oh, they
you're just
invited
being
me. there was somebody who invited me to YouTube Creator Academy, whatever, but except it was a scam. Yeah, so I just Googled online and I realized that there's nobody by that name and there's no such academy. So I don't even know for what purpose this person was writing me, and then we was sending repeats, etc. You can't possibly imagine how many scams I have got, like invitations, do this collaboration, invite the academy, etc. It's unbelievable. How do you even how do you even understand what's real and what's not?
Yeah, I can imagine if you start being active online on YouTube in particular, you're going to be also spammed by bots from time to time, right? So they're going to be typically advertising some cryptocurrencies, and this is also particularly annoying. Sometimes, I click on the video and I'm looking just at the comments because I sort of know what the author is going to say, right? So I'm just interested in some kind of opposing views, in the comments, especially when it goes for like, I know, investing in my case, right? So I look at the comments. I'm looking for some information that might give me like I don't know, like some additional intel, some second thought on topics. But instead, I get all those crypto scamming kind of in for like posts. Yeah, and this is really annoying. No, but this is certainly the future. Also for some grandmasters, I guess. But again, I'm going to emphasize this as an addition to what they already do, because if you're like 2600 rated, typically you're gonna be earning most of your money from playing, from coaching, maybe from writing, because you can make a living. You can make a living out of that if you're 2600 rated. You just need to set those parameters. Yeah, so like how much percent of your time are you devoting to playing per month? How much do you want to, how many courses or books do you want to write within a year maybe? And if you set those parameters right, you can kind of shape like your life, how it looks like, and also like influence the quality of your life. So there are gonna be some people who are gonna be like playing only a little bit, like one tournament per quarter. So like the rest of their time is gonna be filled with tournament, I don't know, coaching others, writing courses, and that can turn into like a particularly financially rewarding kind of a business, right? Then again, if you want to be successful as a coach or maybe as an author, you might want to have this online presence, right? And this is also what YouTube is designed for. But again, in my personal opinion, as an addition, all to all the other things that you do. So like if I were to do that, I would set the parameter at somewhere around like 15 to 20% tops out of 100. Yeah.
All right. That's well said. And we have one more thing to do in this podcast. It's a tradition. Um, let's solve a puzzle from your course, shall we?
Woohoo! Awesome.
Okay. So this is the position that you gave me. By the way, if somebody doesn't know, Wojciech just released his very first chessable course. I mean, actually, not just a bit, it was like a month ago, but it's still very fresh. Moranda's method, and everybody has their methods today. And pretty sure you're gonna get Neiksans method at some point. But let's try to get this puzzle.
Okay.
By the way, I
So
think my headphones are gonna die in a moment. I didn't charge them.
I
I'll
can
have
always
to.
take over after you in case of need. I can start talking about the exercise.
Yeah. I'll
So
figure it out.
essentially,
It's just giving me beeps.
you might want to invert the board because it's black to play.
Oh, it's black to play. I try to. So black to play.
So I can mention something in the meantime. It's a candid move exercise because my method revolves on one hand around the skills that you need to possess in order to get better at calculation at chess, but also like the construction of the calculation process as such. So, you need to see what like different things on the board. So this is, like where vision becomes important. But then in the beginning, once you've already evaluated the position, you need to kind of know what you're looking for, so you create a list of candidate moves. And this is exactly this point of time when, okay, like you're supposed to know what you're looking for, like the position suggests, like the type of solution that you should be thinking about, right? And obviously there needs to be this logical link between the eval of the position, what you're looking for that is, and the moves that you're gonna be thinking about out here. So since you're so down on material here as black, but the king of white is kind of exposed, well, it becomes all of a sudden logical that you should actually target the poor white guy out there on G1. But how to do it? That's a separate kind of thing because there are some moves which are like very, very, very kind of tempting, but in order to make sure that the canned move selection process of yours is good enough, you might not want to. You definitely want to avoid this phenomenon called
Okay,
tunnel.
is the bishop a3?
Very good, excellent. But before we carry on and explain very quickly the merits behind bishop a3, I just want to ask you a simple question: was bishop a3 your very first candid move out here?
No. No,
Exactly.
definitely it was G3. I was thinking about G3, Queen F2, but I usually how I solve these positions is I do the elimination method. So I check G3, there's Queen D4. Then I look at the other pieces. The king move makes no sense. And knight move is going to be knight E5. Sorry, Queen E5 check. F6 is too slow. I mean, I could look at F6 maybe a bit later, but I would like to look for something more forcing. Bishop C3 is Queen C3. Bishop C1 is Queen D4 again. So I'm thinking I should somehow attack the king, so it's got to be Bishop A3. But again, I didn't really calculate anything. That's the first move I noticed, and immediately I see there's no Queen D4 because of Bishop C5. He can give away the queen, but probably because of the disconnected king, black is going to be winning.
Very good, because you're already a very experienced player, so for you this whole process was super intuitive in nature. Then again, for somebody who isn't yet a grandmaster, we might want to prefer to dissect the process into smaller chunks. So you look at a position like this and you say to yourself, okay, I'm heavily down on the material, so I'm gonna have to do something special out here, and that is attacking the king of my opponent. Otherwise, I lose in the long run. So the king of white incidentally happens to be very exposed. And then you think, okay, how do I attack the king of white? And then you start indicating some candid moves, right? So G3 is the most tempting one. And as far as I can tell, G3 was played in the game. However, if you just stop at G3 just because it's so tempting, so simple, so straightforward, you risk two things. First of all, that you're gonna fall into tunnel vision, so you're not gonna kind of even accept the thought that there might be something else available in the position for black, and also that if you do not check the move sufficiently, you're gonna be countered with Queen D4, and all of a sudden there goes your mating idea on F2 right out of the window. But if the process is very, very kind of disciplined, right, you're gonna also think to yourself, okay, what about Bishop A3? And then what you did, eliminations, like the next step, right? So you eliminated G3. What is left on the list is Bishop A3. Bishop A3 makes perfect sense because Bishop C5 is being threatened. White doesn't really have any other way of defending but to sacrifice the queen on D4 once again, and then the position is most probably losing because the dangers persist while white is just losing a queen. In the meantime, the rooks do not constitute enough compensation for the
But to be
activity of
honest,
the
I
queen.
didn't even calculate any further. For example, after Bishop A3, there's Rook H3. And what is happening there? So Rook H2 probably also is a move, and after G3 there could be King H1. Yeah, so I did not again calculate this deeply, but I would have to check. Yeah, what's happening here.
Yeah, and this is called falsification. So you're super convinced that Bishop A3 is the way to go. So then you
I'm
start.
not convinced. I'm not convinced. I would start with this. I
No,
would
no. I
start
mean,
with it.
if you're facing a choice between G3 and Bishop A3, you're kind of convinced that Bishop G3 doesn't work, but you're not yet sure whether Bishop A3 works or not. So you kind of blindly go for Bishop A3 because you simply have no other choice left out here. And
I
this
mean,
is
there's
when
Queen
the
D2. There's also Queen D2. This is something I didn't look at. Yeah, so Queen D2, where do you go?
Queen D2. I mean, in the starting position, you're saying,
Yeah, in the
right?
starting
So
position. This is also something I noticed, and I could not very quickly see the move because it
Queen
enables.
E8. Queen E8,
We,
right? So I defend the rook, I bring reinforcements, no
and
checks
now
left for you.
it's. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
now it's probably not. Okay, it's not working. Yeah, I saw this move, but I didn't calculate it.
It should be fine. I mean, White certainly, increased his saving chances out here, right? White is actually winning after Queen D2, Queen E8. But,
Okay.
after Bishop A3, what I mentioned, like this falsification process, you kind of put yourself into, despite the fact that you're black in this game, you put yourself into White's position, and you're desperately trying to prove yourself as black wrong. Hey, well, actually, bishop a3 doesn't work. Let's check whether we are whether it's really that strong, or maybe whether there's a problem. Because if you really want to make sure that a move of yours like bishop a3 works, you need to be kind of super convinced, and there's no better way to obtain like this level of conviction than to actually imagine that you are actually trying to defend this white. That is like a sort of a challenge for yourself. So after bishop a3, yeah, rook h3 is an option, but after like g takes h3, the king of white is naked, bishop c5 is still incoming. I can imagine h takes g2 with a check coming, followed by queen f2, the rook on e1 drops, right? And rook h2 is not the type of a move that would be capable of saving white, because on a static level, this rook might be standing out there, but on a dynamic.
Oh, sorry. Second. I lost you there a bit. 1 second. Can you say something? Just a second. I lost you there. Okay. Say something. I lost you. My audio is gone. That's what I was afraid of. Just a second. Oh. Okay. I mean, my headphones died. Yeah, I forgot to charge them. So I was shuffling the moves that you were saying, that after rook h3, bishop c5, bishop d6, I tried to calculate whatever is happening there. But actually, how do I get you back? Because I'm not really sure.
Well, I'm still
there you
so
are.
maybe the viewers are still hearing me, right? It's a good question though.
Now you're. What did you say? Yeah, you're back. I'm hearing you.
Okay. No, what I was saying is that I hope that the viewers were able to hear me all the time out here, right?
No, they were able. I mean, they were not able to hear you for the first 3 minutes. So this we fixed it. By the way, it's a typical streamer mistake. Yeah, sometimes it happens. It happens after every 500 hours. Like you're streaming, and then at some point you realize you're muted. You know how many times I've done this? I've done this so many times, like probably 10 in total. So every other time it just comes back. Yeah, and it's really bad when you're streaming for like 1 hour, nobody's listening to you, and then you realize, or there's like a couple of people listening in the background, and then you realize you've been muted all the time.
Maybe
but I haven't done that, to be honest.
Maybe this is a sign from heavens that it's like a very good kind of moment to wrap it up, since we've managed to cover like yet another puzzle from my course. We've managed to discuss some very interesting topics today, and I'm pretty sure that despite those little technical glitches here and there, your viewers are gonna be satisfied with our meeting today. So if you guys would be interested in hearing more from us in the future, please let us know in the comments, and we're gonna do our best. Maybe in the near future there are gonna be more opportunities, more drama in the chess world.
Yeah. We like to discuss drama. Yeah. That's why we are here.
Everybody loves drama, right?
Everybody loves drama, especially us. We like to discuss drama. We'd like to provide our 2 cents. Maybe nobody cares about it. We care about our opinions. So, by the way, dear viewers, if you have any questions you would like us to see cover in the next episodes, because I think we are going to be back, just write it in the comments right here on Twitch, or later, of course, I'm going to upload it on YouTube as well. So write your comments. What would you like to see? What would you like us to discuss? And actually, not always it's going to have to be some chess drama. We could also talk some chess stuff related. For example, we could discuss some openings. We could talk about the Dutch defense. Why it's the best defense in the world. So there's so many things we can do.
That's going to be a short video, though.
Those of you who don't know, Wojciech is mocking the Leningrad defense. He doesn't know it yet, that it's really great.
No, I'm slowly starting to appreciate the merits behind the Dutch. Actually, I've encouraged one of my students to give the Dutch a try, also based on your work, on your course, which I can wholeheartedly recommend hereby. Whether we're going to be going with the Leningrad or something slightly different, that's still an open question. But certainly those sidelines that you provide, they're still super helpful, no matter how you slice it. So
all right, thank you. Appreciate it.
if you guys are interested, there is no better source out there than
Yeah,
Arturs.
absolutely. I'm gonna
Arturs'
quote
Disciple
this
course.
and I'm gonna put it in my course. Yeah,
Please
absolutely
do.
no better source
You can
for
quote
that.
me on that.
I'll quote you definitely. All right.
Awesome.
Okay, listen. I know you have to go, Wojciech. Right? You have some important stuff happening, and I also, by the way, I have important stuff. By the way, what you're seeing behind me, this is my refurbished home office. I still will have some furniture. There's like a wall behind me, but there's going to be brand new stuff. And in case somebody's watching this, if you'd like to get more inside information, you're going to have to head over to my Patreon. This is where I'm posting some updates. I haven't posted like latest pictures, but it's starting to look really, really cool. You're going to love it.
I cannot wait to see that.
I saw the jealousy in your eyes, Wojciech.
Yeah, so much jealousy like pouring out on.
All right. Thank you for joining me, Vojciech, today, and everybody who was watching. Have a great